but my IPMAT exam was on 12th and my CUET exam was on 14th. So I was completely, stumped. I was like, how can I prepare for CUET now? So in 10th, I was very interested in law, but then later on, I was like, I will just pursue management. But I gave CLAT because it was an exam that was happening in December. Do your mocks really well and analyze them really well and practice the questions. But also the most important fact is not how much you practice, is how much...
Between these examinations, IPM Indore, Rohtak, GIPMAT, what would you say was the difference in terms of preparation or the syllabus essentially?
Actually, the video lectures really helped me a lot in strengthening my basics, and on top of that, the mocks were really good. So I was very satisfied with the explanations given in the mocks.
As you mentioned, Ranchi was your best interview. So what was that interview like, and also if you can shed some light on your Rohtak interview as well. Hey folks, Saksham this side from AceIPM. In this episode of Ace Date, we have Kopal with us, who's All India rank 42 in IIM Indore's IPM admission process this year. Alongside, she cracked all the IIMs she appeared for this year. And in this video, we are going to hear about her experience of preparing for IPM and what were the ups and downs being a commerce fresher student. So without any further ado, let's begin. Kopal, can you please introduce yourself to us?
Of course, sir. My name is Kopal Gupta. I'm from Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh, and I secured a rank of 42 in my IPMAT Indore examination this year, and I scored 226 marks. So the breakup of those marks was I scored 44 marks in QA essay, in MCQ I scored 37, and in verbal I scored 149 marks. I was a full year student of AceIPM.
Fair enough. So, given that you started preparing for IPM, quite early, could you please tell us as to, when did you come across, IPM as a program, and what motivated you to, study for it and, prepare for the exam and the interviews?
So, when I chose commerce with maths as my subject combination, I was looking for options in terms of colleges. So, DU was one college that sprang to mind, and my parents and I discussed, and we found out about IPM as a program. So, I was like, okay, Indore is such a prestigious institute, and they're offering such an amazing program where you can learn about management and do your MBA alongside it afterwards. So that is when I found out about IPM, and I gave the IPMAT, I believe 2020 ka mock. So I gave that mock and I found it very interesting. Okay, these questions are very logical, very maths and logic focused. So I found that very, intriguing, and that's why I started my preparation for IPMAT.
And what other examinations did you target this year?
So I mainly targeted all the IPMAT examinations, but I did give other examinations such as CLAT. I also gave CUET examinations.
All right. And why did you, appear for CLAT? Were you interested in law as a program, or was it just for practice?
So in 10th, I was very interested in law, but then later on I was like, I will just pursue management. But I gave CLAT because it was an exam that was happening in December. Okay. So I could experience, the exam giving experience and all the stress that comes with it without it being a major exam on my end. So I gave CLAT as a practice exam of sorts. And since I scored well in CLAT, so it was a very, confidence boosting process.
Fair enough. And, that's actually a good strategy because, you might give, 100 different mocks and, try to get a taste of the actual exam. But unless and until you are in that particular room sitting, across, around, 100 different students and giving that exam in that test environment, you don't really get that experience. And having that experience before your main exam always helps. This year, it is going to be good for all of you because IIM Bangalore's offline program will have their entrance test in the month of December itself. So you'll have one experience of giving an entrance before coming to other IPMATs. So that is anyway going to help you. But if you want additional practice, you can also maybe apply for CLAT and see where that takes you. Apart from that, you prepared for CUET as well, as you mentioned. So was it difficult for you to prepare for both? How did you manage preparing for CUET along with IPMAT?
I kind of did not manage it that well in my opinion. So I was very focused on IPMAT as an examination. I have to crack an IIM in my opinion. So I was kind of neglecting CUET. Once I'm done with IPMAT, I'll revise for CUET because I thought I would get a later date for my CUET exam. But my IPMAT exam was on 12th and my CUET exam was on 14th. So I was completely, stumped. I was like, how can I prepare for CUET now? So that lowered my score by quite a lot in CUET at least. But because of the fact that I prepared for IPMAT so much and not CUET, I could score well in IPMAT. My score was pretty high, so I was confident in IIMs then. So it was a trade-off in my opinion. I would not recommend everyone make that trade-off, focus on CUET as well. But for me, it worked out because all the IIMs I applied to, I got into it because I was not focusing on any other exam as such.
Makes sense. And, to each their own. General advice would always be that you maximize your options. You go for as many colleges as you can because you never know, right, what works, what does not work. but yeah, if you're hyper focused about one thing and you see कि हाँ मेरे scores भी उस direction में जा रहे हैं, even if not IIM Indore, I'll land up in one of the other IIMs. We have so many IIMs this year, and we'll have many more next year as well. If that is your strategy and that is why you want to just focus on one thing, that's okay. But if you have an option, you are anyway preparing for your class 12. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपका CUET से कोई भी college नहीं हुआ होगा, अभी भी कुछ ना कुछ तो हो रखा होगा, right? So that anyway helps having at least a backup at hand. So moving forward, coming to your entrance preparation, if we compare verbal and quants, what would you say you found the most difficult, and how did you tackle that?
So in terms of IPMAT preparation, I found verbal ability quite easy for me because I was an avid reader of books as a kid as well. So my vocabulary was quite strong, my grammar was quite strong as a kid. So I would actually recommend that to people. Read more books when you're preparing for verbal ability based examinations. In QA, I did have to prepare the formulas and the different types of questions that you get. But once you do the formulas, actually just applying logic into the questions you get, because IPMAT doesn't ask very basic questions. They don't ask direct formula based questions. You have to apply all the previous studies you've done into the question and make your own type of formula with it, essentially. So focusing on each question and targeting it as a whole, other exam of its own, that really helps, I think, preparing.
Fair enough. And between these examinations, IPMAT Indore, Rohtak, GIPMAT, what would you say was the difference in terms of preparation or the syllabus essentially?
So initially I was just focused on Indore. So I was saying, okay, Indore is harder, so if I crack that, I will crack all the others. But I did have to study for Rohtak and GIPMAT as well because of, first of all, the LR section. You have to prepare for it, you cannot deny it. So you have to revise questions with that. But I do think focusing on Indore in terms of QA and VA automatically transferred over to GIPMAT and Rohtak as well.
Fair enough. And in terms of mocks, could you tell us the number of mocks that you would have given, throughout your preparation journey for all the exams combined?
For all the exams combined, I gave at least 25 mocks, I think.
And for Indore?
Indore, yeah, 20 mocks of Indore.
Got it.
So it was mostly Indore focused.
Okay, and when did you start giving these mocks?
So I did give them sparsely in 11th. 12th I became a bit more serious, and at the end of my preparation I was giving one mock a week at least.
Got it. And what was your mock taking strategy like? How would you give a mock? What was your mindset at that time, and how would you go about analyzing the same?
One thing with my mocks was that my major issue in giving the mocks was that I would do the QA sections and I would do them really well, but by the time I got to VA I would run out of stamina completely. So I was very exhausted by then. I was like, okay, मैंने बहुत ज़्यादा कर लिए questions. So to fix that, I gave a lot of sectionals first of all to strengthen my VA, and then I began giving mocks way more seriously with a lot more energy inside of me. So that really helped. And in mocks, I was really focused on analysis as well. So giving a mock was not the most important part. It was analyzing what I got wrong in the mock and what I could do to make it correct. And that was the major focus of mine.
Fair enough. And a very important tip. We have had a lot of students who, they go to the extent of giving a mock without having any AC or fan on, because you never know the actual exam mein, how the environment is going
Definitely.
to be like. That is one thing. Second, as she mentioned, the lack of stamina. A lot of you are not in the habit of sitting through an exam which is 2 hours long and having full focus right from minute 0 till 120th minute. And a lot of you might be getting good marks in your sectionals of verbal ability, but not in the actual full length mock, and that could be one of the reasons which you can work on. So as you mentioned, you have been a full year student of AceIPM. So could you please shed some light on how your experience was like with AceIPM?
It was very great actually. The video, lectures really helped me a lot in strengthening my basics. And on top of that, the mocks were really good. So I was very satisfied with the explanations given in the mocks. And I think AceIPM helped me most in terms of the interview preparation as well. So it was very strong, the fact that I went to the center and they gave online, offline interviews with me. So that was really helpful to me, I think.
I'm glad. And talking about interviews, could you please shed some light on, how did you essentially prepare for your interviews, and also how was your actual interview like for Indore?
So the first time I came to AceIPM to give an offline interview, it was very bad. I did horribly. So they asked me what were your flaws, and I said academics, current affairs, GK, confidence, everything. So every criteria that they look for in an interview, I said that is my flaw. So they were like, why would we take you then? So those kind of questions I really struggled with, first of all, because I would just blank immediately if someone's asking me those. So then when I thought about the questions, I prepared a few answers to the most basic questions, and I also did some research because my GK was not strong. So preparing that really helped me, and giving more mock interviews really helped me, strengthen my confidence. and that really helps.
And how was your interview like in IIM Indore?
In IIM Indore, the interview was really nice. The interviewers were very sweet actually. That was like my second best interview after Ranchi, because Ranchi was amazing. In Indore, they asked me a lot of out of syllabus questions to see if I could like analyze the answers by myself and try to come up with a solution.
Can you just give an example of one out of syllabus question?
So one interview asked me ki Kopal, there is this concept called brand equity, which is basically like there was a Tata copper bottle sitting right there. So they were like, Tata charges more for their bottles because Tata is a known brand. So how will you account that in your journals and balance sheets? So that kind of question I've never done. In goodwill also we do purchase goodwill, not self-generated goodwill. So that sort of question I had to work my way towards and try to come up with an answer. And I answered it wrong, but I did have a good logic with it. So that's why I think they found it correct.
Fair enough. And given that you have given all these interviews, Indore, Rohtak, Ranchi, do you think there's any difference in terms of the kind of candidate each of these institutions is looking for and the kind of interviews they take?
Definitely, I think so. Indore is very logic focused and academic focused. So they were really testing the way I knew my syllabus. First of all, they wanted to see if I knew my 12th ka syllabus, the harder questions of my 12th ka syllabus. And if I am given a situation where I don't know the answer, how will I work my way towards an answer? So they really cared about that. In Rohtak, it was a rapid fire answer, all the most factual based questions. It wasn't analytical at all. It was most like, tell me about this, then tell me about this. So all of that I answered, and extempore was also very basic. In Ranchi, they also cared about the analytical part. So they asked a lot of questions about that, but it was very HR focused. So it's a very different spectrum of the types of questions they were asking me.
And how, as you mentioned, Ranchi was your best interview. So what was that interview like? And also if you can shed some light on your Rohtak interview as well.
Of course. So the first fact was that Ranchi was my last interview. So by then I had already had a lot of experience with interviews. I was very confident in them ki okay, I'll be able to perform. And the interviews were very sweet people and they were very conversational. Like it felt like I was talking to my own friends or something. It was very sweet. So that really helped me. In Rohtak, they were interrogating me. They were not smiling. They were laughing at me actually. So I would answer a question and they would just laugh amongst themselves. So that made me think that I was just saying a completely different language or something. It was very different. And that made me actually very anxious in my interview. In Ranchi, they were very friendly and very kind. So that was a major difference actually.
Fair enough. And thank you so much. Could you leave us with any tip for the future aspirants who are going to be preparing for these examinations and would want to, be at the position that you are at right now?
One tip I would like to give is that, okay, do your mocks really well and analyze them really well and practice the questions. But also the most important fact is not how much you practice, is how much logical thinking you can apply to every question you see in the paper. So, use 100% of your brain power when you see each question. Ki how can I actually answer it? And look for different solutions. I think that's something that really helped me in my...
That actually makes sense, and speaking of, applying your logic, that is not just restricted to quantitative aptitude. You also apply the same logic in verbal ability as well, because it really, really helps you, get the question right. You eliminate all the wrong options and then you come to the correct one. That being said, we also have our freshers and droppers batch available. The link of which is available down in the description. You can have a look at it. You can watch the demo lectures. You can also check, talk to one of our counselors and see, if IPM as a program is the right fit for you or not. The program is available both in online and offline format. We have an offline center over here at Sector 2 Noida as well. So you can come on in and experience it offline, or you can also take it online. That being said, I'll see you in another one. Till then, stay safe, take care, all the very best, and bye-bye.
Ready to ace IPM? Get started by going on AceIPM.com, and over there you'll see a free counseling button. You need to click on that and enter all your details so that one of your future seniors can get in touch with you and clarify all your queries about IPM and AceIPM. Thank you.